Welcome to this episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. I'm Eric.
And I'm Angie.
We are married with a ton of kids.
We have 6 kids total. He has 3 and I have 3.
My name's Hallie and I love riding horses.
I'm Lexi and I love agriculture.
My name's Carter and I love eating.
My name's Chase and I love lifting weights.
My name's Summer and I love spending my parents' money.
I'm Dane and I love baseball.
Our show is about our blended, blessed, and always a mess life. And our hope is if you find yourself in the same situation we are in, that by sharing our story, all the fun and all the mess, the challenges we are experiencing, it will give you some inspirations, laughs, and community, knowing you are not alone in this mess.
We appreciate you spending time with us. Let's dive in.
Welcome to this week's episode of Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess, where it's getting deep in here. It's what I got the notes, and these are things we've discussed. But anytime Angie goes deep, I'm a little bit shocked, taken back, surprised in that regard. So, I mean,
yeah, usually Eric never knows the topic. I write it all out and then I just email it to him. It's like mic drop. But I think people appreciate real. That's a lot of the feedback that we receive is like, they like the realness, the rawness, because it allows people to connect, because we all go through struggles and it makes us feel like, hey, we're not the only ones with crazy lives and ups and downs and challenges to navigate and heartbreak and joys and all the things.
When we first met, I did this. This was how we connected. And I think you were really uncomfortable with the realness that I provided.
I'm still not comfortable with it. I think it's always uncomfortable to go deep. I mean, it is there's a rawness to it that I see that look on your face.
What? I'm a fan of The Office. It took everything I had there not to be like, that's what she said.
I know exactly what you were thinking.
If you haven't seen The Office, best show ever. So Hallie and I used to watch it together all the time. I mean, she loved it too. So we would sit on the couch and watch episode after episode of The Office. And if you watch it, Michael Scott, anytime something semi-inappropriate would come up, he would be like, that's what she said. So anyway, but we are going to get real and raw. And so I guess we dive in because you've prepared it and I'm interested to see how this goes. Luckily, I had a counseling session yesterday, so I'll be able to
so
interject.
You're ready.
I'll be able to interject at times and how this goes.
All right. So here's what's top of mind. Actually, let me just stop with the top of mind. I actually, every week, I send out an email to my team at work, and it's called Friday Feels, and it's what's top of mind for that week. And, I tie it back to our work environment, all the things. But when I sit down to write the Friday Feels, it's a moment of reflection for me of okay, what's top of mind? What's going on this week that I can also send a little goodness out before everybody, wraps and enjoys their weekend. So same concept with this topic is what's top of mind. And top of mind for me is actually how hard intimacy is when you are really struggling in life. And so one of probably the very first things that I remember Eric saying to me when we got home from the hospital.
Let's be clear. It wasn't like the day this happened. It would have been within the week, but not the first day. I'm not that stupid.
Well, I don't recall much.
Right. When I read this, I was like, whoa, it wasn't the first day.
You're in complete trauma and shock. So it could have been a week later. It felt like when we got home, the first thing I remember Eric saying to me that was shocking almost for me personally, because you're just reeling from the loss of your child and coming home and just it's nothing but pure shock and devastation. Eric said, oh my gosh, we might get divorced because the divorce rate is so high when you lose a child. And in my mind, that was the last thing that I could even go to or think about. But here we are 18 months in, and we've all processed so much, and we have navigated so many massive freaking hills that we've had to climb. And it has been nothing short of grueling. And what's top of mind for me, because intimacy is super challenging, is that as I reflect back, I totally see why the divorce rate's high. Because on November 29th at 3:11, I died too. I died. And
you're doing great. And I still see you, and I love you.
So when Hallie's light went out, so did mine. So that joy that I felt before I lost Hallie, I just don't think's ever coming back. And, people are like, oh yeah, time will. No, no, that joyful life is not coming back. There's no effing way that anybody can convince me of that. I will have joyful moments. I have had joyful moments, but that joy-filled life where you have this zest and this energy and can't wait for the next day, when a piece of you is dead, it's not possible. It's not possible. So
I would say that somebody said the other day to me, and it was the first time. We always say to people, hey, if you don't know what to say, it's okay. Like, you're not going to say anything wrong. But I did find the one. Somebody said to me in the store the other day, and it was a nicer, older lady. I was very polite, but she was like, you know what? Time will heal. No, it doesn't heal the loss of a child. That's the one thing you can't say. I've been through the loss of my father, been through divorce. I've been through a lot of pain. Time heals all those other pains. You can say that then. But if anyone loses a child, the one thing, don't say time will heal. It doesn't.
Well, here's the thing. Also, I don't get upset when people say things to me like that. I don't. Because I've had that. Like, it takes time, all that stuff. My immediate thought is just, they have no idea.
Yeah, they don't know.
They don't know. And how would you? You can't know. You can't know unless you have walked this fire of freaking hell every day. So I say all that in that my main focus every day is just to try to put one foot in front of the other. And it's hard to fathom what I go through every day. Just yesterday was 18 months. I haven't even posted about it being 18 months. Normally I do, because I just can't. This month, what I really want to say is not appropriate for social media, because there's been some things that have happened recently that the person responsible for Hallie's death, it's just unfathomable. Like, the audacity that has occurred is frankly unbelievable. But so I have a lot I would like to say, and I just can't share it because it's not appropriate for me to share.
Ditto. Yes, I'm with you.
So it's like I'm holding back from sharing anything right now because it's just way too, it's just not appropriate for me to say. I'm afraid of what will come out of my mouth. So
I don't blame you.
So, I find out something yesterday morning. It's 18 months. And then I go to work, and I go to the office, and I am professional, and I smile, and I kick ass. I do all the things, right? And I have to block out what's really going on in my mind and totally separate it out so that I can function and be a productive human in this world that continues on.
Mm-hmm.
And then come home and enjoy my 2 kids that are at my house and have time with them. And then I go to bed. And when I crawl in bed with my heated blanket,
always hot,
I crumble, right? Like, I don't even a lot of times have words, the energy to have words come out of my mouth, because I have felt like I have gotten first place in the Ironman. Like, it feels like I have ran like the biggest race, and it's a Wednesday.
Yeah.
It's a Wednesday in the middle of the week when everybody else is having their normal days. That's my fight. It's my fight every day. So that's my focus, right?
I keep telling you, I see you. I see your pain. I see how hard you fight to put one foot in front of the other, whether that's with your kids, whether that's with your job, whether that's still fighting for Hallie every day. Like, you do all those things. I'm super proud of you.
So let's go back to what's top of mind is to have connection with your spouse. It involves a lot of things. It involves being affectionate towards each other, words of affirmation, physical touch, focused time together, deep combos, teamwork that involves both people, being in sync with each other, a oneness. Yeah, I don't have any of that. I mean, this is the real conversation. Aric gives 110% to all those things with someone that's dead, because that's the way it feels like on the inside for me.
I discussed this with my counselor yesterday.
I'm sure that's top of mind for you. I've no doubt
Do you want to know what I said? What do you think? Let me ask you this. What do you think that I said to my counselor, our counselor?
I love my wife and I want to
say?
fix it and I can't. And I don't know how to show up for her. That's what I feel like a lot of our conversations have been.
I didn't say I want to fix it.
Well,
I said it's unfixable.
I think you're at a point now where you realize you can't.
Yeah. I just said, I think that we're in a season of life that, while I miss my wife and I know she's never coming back in the form of what I knew her, that I do believe God, has used, as we have talked about on this podcast. Like, there's that 6-month period from last June to December where I was really down and out and I was not healthy and I was just angry. And a lot of that was learning to process that my wife was gone. Not only was my daughter gone, but my wife was gone. My family's forever changed. The joy that I had spending time with Hallie or you or all of our kids together, all gone. So grieve that, only to get to a point now to really work the last 6 months where God at this point is saying to me, okay, everything I do is orchestrated. And so that 6-month period was to get you to this 6-month period where now you can look and go, all my job is in this marriage right now is to do all the daily chores, right? To get everything done around the house that I can, to take things off your plate, to provide for our kids. But it's really the number one focus is for myself to have the vertical relationship with him, to get to heaven, to see Hallie again, to walk you to that same vertical relationship to where you're with Hallie again, to walk all of our children in that same regard to where they're walking with Hallie again. That's my job. And if at some point things change for you, and I said, yeah, I'm like, I've used this analogy with you before. And I said it to her. I'm like, it's like right now I'm that really loyal dog in the corner. When she comes home, I'm wagging my tail, hoping she wants to take me for a walk today, but that doesn't happen every day. And so maybe someday she's going to want to play with me again. And, and that's really where, but that's really, it's like when you watch the Toy Story movies with your kids, right? And the little boy gets older and Woody and Buzz Lightyear are stuck in the toy box, but every now and then he takes them out to play. And you're like, that's kind of where it's at. But my relationship with Jesus should have always been more important than you. And I continue to just work on that. Read my Bible more than I ever have, find a lot of joy in my Bible. And yeah, I miss my wife, but it is what it is. This is the life that God's presented to us. And I have to trust that he is good and this is all part of his plan, not mine, which I've never been good at that until now. So this whole thing is it's his orchestration of how he wants for me to show up for as a good Christian, and then for you and for our children and other people. So that was my conversation with the counselor.
All right. I was a little bit off. I was wrong. I admit it. Similar theme, but yours was way more articulated and deeper for sure. That's what she said.
Look at you. Hallie right now is like, way to go, Mom. Good job, Mom.
But I hope that our listeners are gathering that, like, when you go through something so traumatic, so devastating, your identity changes. Mm-hmm. For both people, for me, for Aric and his role, and that is the growth mindset that we all have to have. You cannot bury your head in the sand and think, nope, this is the way it's supposed to be. I'm not changing. This is me. Doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. You are going to be impacted by so much in your life that you have to invite that change in, invite that trauma in, and evolve and allow your identity to be changed. And this whole grief journey here's the challenge. And I think that has been a struggle. And I think a lot of people probably struggle with this, whether it's a grief journey or whatever journey that you're on that requires healing. It's a journey that you have to do on your own. And I think a lot of times it's like, oh, well, let's surround ourselves with people. But is that a distraction, or is it actually helping you through your process of healing? Because this is my aspect or my viewpoint on it. I have to feel all the feels. I do. No one else can feel that for me. So I have to make the decision every day if I'm going to get my ass up out of bed and go fight. Am I going to rise from the ashes, or am I going to lay down? No one can decide that for me. You can't say, Angie, you need to get up and go fight. I'd be like, F you. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I do know, and I'm smarter than that. Yes, I am aware.
I have to be the one. I have to be the one that finds the strength.
It's why a couple of weeks ago,
no one can give that to me. And I think people that, like, if you are feeling stuck right now, you have to change your mindset into like, I have to do this. I have to be the one that decides. And I know a lot of times people are like, well, you should not, because it's a lonely journey. But
it's a lonely journey for both people.
Right. But like, I think it's designed that way. Like, it has to be in order for you to take the time to figure out who you are and what are you going to focus on, right? You've had to be alone in some aspects to understand and realize that you have to focus on your relationship with God. No one was going to tell you to do that. Like, but if you were constantly focused on me the whole time, that never would have happened. And so I feel like it's not that I'm saying I'm not surrounded by people that care. I think it's changing your mindset to think about like, yeah, I know I'm not alone, but I have to go at this journey alone in a lot of ways. And don't take that out of just context, but like, you have to have an army that walks with you to help you, to carry you if needed. But
we talked
like,
about that last week
with
the 7Fs.
Right.
7Fs last week. You have to have the army, but yes, go ahead.
But you have to be the one that makes the trip. Like, no one can do that for me. No one can take the steps away from me. Like, I have to make the steps. It's like if someone has an addiction and you go force them to check into rehab, their ass is coming back out and they're not going to be healed.
Yeah,
like,
they've got to choose.
Mentally have to dig deep to understand their thoughts and actions at such a personal level. So I think for you, what you've had to kind of figure out over time is that you can't carry it, but you can help clear the path for me. You can help remove the barriers, right? So it's thinking about your role in a different way. You can look ahead and see like what might be coming my way, what's risky, storms ahead. You're the weather guy, right? Like, so everyone always asks Eric, what's the weather supposed to be?
Let's take a look at that Clear 99 ABC 17 storm track forecast. We're sunny and gorgeous today, high up around 80.
Thank
you.
So
roll
that's
in
so
tonight.
helpful.
There you go.
That's helpful. Now I know how I need to pack for this journey that I'm on. Do I need to bring a damn umbrella or not? You know, am I wearing a tank top? Do I need to bring a sweatshirt?
Figure it out.
Yeah.
Also, still Spindrift. If we didn't.
Oh God.
Sparkling Orange. If they ever want to.
They're grasping at sponsors.
Help us out. I would love it. I love this Spindrift stuff.
You know, it would help though if people would go and like and review our podcast.
Yes.
That's always good. It's always good to get those little bumps. So for me, like, I really have to take time to map out my direction and plan this like journey that I'm on and ensure that I'm like navigating this in the right way that keeps me fueled and have that strength to get up every day. So for me, that's like quiet time where I'm talking to God, no distractions, talking to God. It's writing. Eric got me this great journal for Mother's Day because I'm like, I do not want anything. May is an expensive month anyway with all of the graduations. So like, do not go overboard. So he got me this great journal and I can share it. It's great. I mean, I'm only a couple pages in, but it's good, solid writing prompts each day and asks you a question and gives you things to think about. So it's writing, it's spending time with Hallie, and it's feeling that pain so deeply. Like I mentioned this on our podcast last time, like I have to have that quiet time where I am thinking about Hallie, talking to Hallie, spending time with her horse. Like those are all small, little healing moments. But then that also takes away from our time to be connected. And so it's such a hard thing to try to navigate when I feel dead on the inside. Eric's clearly alive and breathing and wanting to be part of my life. And so we've had to kind of reshape, like, how are we going to feel more connected? And it is not easy. Like, there's times where weeks will go by where we both know we're like off and we're missing each other and we're not connected, or I'm feeling super low. And so there's just this void that happens. And then it's like, okay, we've got to get more intentional around feeling connected. And so,
which we did that, like when we intentionally planned like an anniversary trip to Hallie's house, we intentionally did a little birthday trip to Arizona. And those 4 to 5 days, we both agreed each time was great for our marriage, right? Just as a small connection point, because it allowed us to just be together, have deep conversations, to be healthy together.
Right. Because it feels, I know for you, it feels so isolating, right? Because
very lonely.
How you envision this part of our lives and feeling connected, it's completely different. So for you, like we mentioned, it's like helping with the house, removing the barriers of helping run kids when I have work conflicts. You pray over us. It's focusing on health, and you constantly sharing your faith journey, as you alluded to earlier. Like, here's what I'm focused on: is how can I get everybody on this faith journey so we can all be with Hallie again. But like those are great foundational things to help us all move along. But then it still goes back to, how do we connect, right? And I would say some of the things that we've been doing that has been very helpful is like just going on a walk together. That sounds so simple, but it's time where you're with each other. And sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes I don't feel like talking, right? I'm in my thoughts, but we're walking together, and there's like a synergy with that a little bit.
I did a marriage class years and years and years ago, read a book, a guy that I really liked. And he talked about how for a man, difference between a man and a woman, like typically a woman wants to like look face to face and have a conversation with you to feel connected, where a lot of times a man just wants you to be next to them, whether that's sitting on the couch, watching the game that you don't want to watch, or whatever that looks like. So just a walk where we're side by side doesn't necessarily have to be words, but I feel that you're with me in that regard. You know what I'm saying? And that makes sense to
me. Definitely. And it sort of forces conversation. So that's the other thing. There are times where it's like, it's a quiet walk, but there's times where we also are talking the whole time, because you're not in the house doing dishes, doing laundry, crossing paths. Like, it sort of forces you to catch up on the day.
I believe that walking with other people stimulates conversation. As I've gotten
you've been doing that a
lot. More of these walk-in talks with other men that I really enjoy, and talking about our faith and how we parent and our marriages. We all agree that the walking stimulates the conversation. The ideas seem to flow better. The conversation feels, you're not as guarded because you're not even looking at each other. Now you do occasionally pause and turn to look when you talk, but you're kind of walking and talking and listening. And so, the walk-in talks for me, really, really good. My walk and talk for today just canceled on me, so I'm actually bummed about that.
Oh, gosh darn it.
I know. I'll force one of the kids to go. They love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But in truth, that is good they actually then start talking as well when I do those with the kids, little walk and talk. Yeah.
Yeah, it's time for a walk. And then it's like, oh, shit, we're going to have to get deep in our feels. Sorry. But podcast together actually is also almost a date for us, and a chance to talk. I feel like even when we record, I'm learning things about you, or there's like little things that we maybe wouldn't have normally talked about. So I think that's another way that we can kind of force that connection when it's extremely hard.
Full transparency, over the last couple of weeks, there's been twice that I can think of that Angie's been like, maybe we should just stop doing the podcast. It's a lot of work. And I'm like, I don't want to do that for a couple of reasons. One, I do think that we're helping people. People reach out to us. But two, I said, it's actually a way that you and I actually connect right now. And I learn things about you and vice versa. And I think it's important that we continue to have that connection point. Otherwise, when would we have these deep conversations?
I know.
Maybe on the walking, but this is really
when
deep.
I think about that, when that topic comes up, it's usually when I feel overwhelmed. Like it's just, there's so much. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I mean, I think we get a ton of positive feedback on our podcast, But, there's so much heaviness for me in trying to balance being a mom and a working mom, and also wanting to share our hearts with our listeners and being very intentional about that. And there's a lot of other things that I want to do as well. And so, but yeah, we're not stopping the podcast, but there's, you start throwing out ideas like, okay, what can I remove when I'm feeling so overwhelmed? And then it's church together.
I love
That's
church
another
together.
aspect, that you're standing next to each other. You're experiencing the same energy and vibe together.
But that is different too. Even church is different, because it used to
I
always be
cry
church.
every time.
Well, no, or like we used to, sometimes we'd hold hands, or I'd put my arm around you. And now there's times where you just don't want to be touched.
No,
and so that's different.
I don't.
All right. So that's different, because I'm in there. I'm like, well, is today a day I can hold her hand? No, probably not. And that's a whole nother ball game as a man, when you're already like, I don't know. Okay. In general, but take out the fact that we've lost Hallie, that any mother has lost a child. Men normally don't know what we're supposed to be doing in those scenarios anyway. It's always like, oh, should I put my arm around someone? Da, da, da. Now, tenfold that for me, right? And touch is like my most number one thing. And now I'm like, I don't know if I should try to hold her hand today. I don't know if I should put my arm on her, around her, or touch her leg.
Here's the deal.
Know.
I will just share this in case anyone else can relate. When you are feeling joyful and, you're happy and it's Sunday and we're at church and everything's great. It's like, yeah, I want to hold hands with my husband. I want him to put his arm around me. Everything's great. This vibe, all the stuff, right? Now flip to you're dead inside. And I'm scared to death. If someone puts their arm around me, I'm going to freaking lose it and be crying my damn eyes out. I'm already fighting back the tears every time I go to church. And so there's an aspect of your skin crawling every day. And it is not comforting to have someone close in on you when you just want to jump out of your skin. So that's a difference. And I'm just being real. Like that's how it feels. I just want to get through church without bawling my eyes out. And I want some message to help me through the week. So that's what that's about.
I keep telling her she's beautiful when she cries. She doesn't believe me, but she really is. But I get it. And so think about that for me then, transparent, flip it the other way. She's now dead inside. We're just now 3 years into our marriage. I'm still madly crazy in love with her, even though life is turned upside down. Touch is my number one form of affection. And that's, as we've discussed today, I mean, even touch in church is almost a no-no. So I'm having to try to 40 some years old, rewire myself in that regard. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. It's why I'm focused so much on my relationship with Jesus, because where else am I going to get any kind of satisfaction otherwise? In that, it's not. Yeah. I mean, that's where we're at. And probably we just need another trip together, which can't happen until probably September, it looks like.
No, because there's a budget scenario
we
here.
Have budget. We have vacation with the kids next month. We have all kinds of traveling sports right now. And so, yeah, we're going to be
also, we have the trial next month. So there's also
July is going to be a shit show. And the trial is a big
lots
part
of prayers. Lots of prayers in July if that all happens. So
I'm ready for that. I'm ready for that to be over, though, one way or the other, because it doesn't solve anything. Hallie's still gone. You're hoping for justice but at the end of the day, it doesn't solve anything. I'm ready for it to be done so that there's at least that part of it. We know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, it's unfixable.
It's unfixable.
It doesn't.
And the things that we continue to know and learn, it makes it even.
The audacity. That's all I'll say. To go to our family restaurant. The audacity.
There's more we could say, but we won't. So,
yeah. So the last thing of how we try to stay connected is actually our therapist recommended an app that kind of enables, guides conversation when sometimes it's really hard. Like small talk to me is very challenging because my whole world is on fire. And so how the Cardinals played last night, I don't know. Don't really care.
She didn't care about that before. That's a poor example. You didn't care about that before. So come on. I'm just at this point like, well, I still love Cardinals baseball. I'll try to do that with my kids because that is a connection point with my children. And I do try to connect with my kids, right? Because I can't,
Yeah.
there's just not a lot of connection. And so try to do that with the kids. And my boys do love Cardinals Bay and Lexi. And so we have those conversations. But she recommended, so the Gottmans, many people have heard of it if you've ever been to like marriage counseling, things like that. Gottmans can predict most marriage success or failure rates very quickly. And for those of you listening that aren't concerned, because we do sometimes get that, oh, they're not doing well. When I was with the counselor yesterday, she's like, I think you guys, I mean, for where you're at in life, she goes, I don't see you guys having divorce issues or anything like that. And I was like, well, I don't feel like that either. We're just navigating grief. It's very difficult. So, and I actually think it's great when we do try to connect. It's a positive point. It's called the card decks is what it is. Gottman card decks, Gottman. And then it's called card decks. And all the different scenarios are different. They have love maps, open-ended questions, rituals of connection, date questions, sex questions, salsa mild. That's like sex questions, salsa medium, and salsa hot. And they are very different. I've looked at all of those.
I have not clicked in those. So just that's the difference. Eric's probably.
Well, I've looked at the whole app.
Okay.
I looked through the entire app, honey. This is like the other day. She had a new bikini on and I said, you look so hot, like really beautiful. And she's like, you're always saying that because you're a man with a penis. And I was like, I shared that with our counselor. I was like, do you know how like that's the kick in the balls? Because I'm trying to like be kind and find a way to connect with you and just to alert, because I don't want some other man to be like, oh, hey, Ange, you look hot. And like all of a sudden, like I didn't say that to you.
Your mind's telling you that is going to matter to me. Like it doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, but in theory, I would think I would want to tell my wife, you look hot, you look beautiful. And it's like, you're just a man with a penis. Fuck. What? What are you talking about? Just, all right, I'll just go back to my chair and you just enjoy floating on the pool. Never mind. Anyway, so the mild ones are super. It's like watch a movie at home together and cuddle on the couch. So see, those are super mild. And then it gets a little spicier in the medium where it's like take a shower together and lather each other's bodies. Like it goes from like A to B quick. And I'm not even going to go into the spicy, but if you're wanting to go there, you can. We're just back to the questions. Okay?
Let's just go back.
Let's just go back to the questions.
We were going to, what we're going to do, and we have like 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is.
I don't even think we have that much time, like 5.
Probably not, 5 minutes.
Okay.
So we were just going to run through some scenarios. I pulled up a couple of questions and Eric pulled up a couple of questions. So we'll just go live. I don't know his questions. He doesn't know mine. And we're just going to show you how this works.
Here we go. You
go
first.
first.
No, you first.
Okay, so I picked the category of date questions.
That's what I picked.
Oh, okay. What is something small that really makes your day?
If you text me and say, I love you and I choose you. That's literally it. I get that about once every 3 weeks. And I mean, when I get it, I'm like the dog in the corner is like, she loves me. She chooses me today.
Do you know what my answer would be?
Being completely alone. And no one bothering me. Or taking a bath.
No, I thought of what something small that really makes my day would be like crawling into bed with fresh sheets that were washed in Diva laundry detergent.
I mean, taking a bath's not far off of that for you.
No,
so
that
pretty
would be
close.
Another one. Okay, that one's done.
I picked for you, what toys did you like playing with as a kid?
Shut up.
Yeah, you picked that one?
Exact same one.
Yeah, love it. Love it. All right. So you answer first since I asked.
Cabbage Patch Kids. I had doll babies.
Yeah.
Never was into Barbies really, but doll babies, Cabbage Patch Kids.
Wow. I love
Those
that.
dolls were ugly. You look at them now.
They were.
Like, oh,
they were
God.
terrible. And you had to like register the names.
Yes.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. Jill, my sister Jill had a bunch of them. So
what about you?
G.I. Joes. I had a bunch of G.I. Joes. I had a 7-foot aircraft carrier in my room when that thing came out. And
7 foot.
Yeah, it was huge. It took my dad forever to put together, and I'm pretty sure I destroyed it. But I had it in my room for like 3 years. Lots of G.I. Joes. We went on a lot of missions. So, and if it wasn't G.I. Joe, it was He-Man. I had a lot of He-Man characters as well.
He-Man.
Master of Grayskull. I have the power. So anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, those are my toys. That and I played a lot of baseball. So
yeah,
that's what I did. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go next. Don't be hogging the questions.
Well, I thought you were
Isn't it my
asking
turn?
me that.
I picked open-ended questions.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna do a different one. I have 2 left, but I'll just do one more. I picked the other category I picked was I feel.
Oh, all right.
So, like in one word, you have to describe how you feel, like as an emotion. Do, 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 do.
Well, like right now?
Yeah, that's the question.
Oh, just
it's just
in one
I
word?
feel. It's just I feel, and then you have to say the emotion.
Lonely.
I feel crushed.
I get that.
So I imagine if we did that on a walk and talk, there would be other things following that. But
You would
that's
assume. Yeah.
that's one question to drive conversation.
Okay. Here's mine. Back to the date questions. I love this question. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
To bring people back.
I assume so. Yeah.
What was
my serious one would be to be able to fix everything, make it all better, be like Superman and turn the world back around when he gets mad and he literally reverses the world's gravity so that he can change the outcome of things, go back and fix it. I think that was in like the second Superman, but the one I've always said since I was a kid, that's like my funny one. I wish that I could eat whatever I wanted to and just be so fit, just be muscly as all get out, but eat whatever I wanted to all day long.
Yeah, I would eat coconut cream pie every day with French fries.
Yeah, 100%.
Sweet and salty. Okay, I'm going to ask you the open-ended question that I had. It's my last one I picked. How are you feeling now about being a parent?
The hardest, not so rewarding job that I've ever had. Nothing I love more than giving my all for kids to basically tell you that you don't know what you're talking about. That's pretty much what it is, right? You don't know what you're talking about. No, I do. I've done it already. And you're doing it wrong now too. But I love you. And so let me go spend more money on you because you've asked for that. And the problem with that is that I really love our kids. And like Monday, we wanted to spend time with them. And they all were like, yeah, no, I'm doing this or I'm doing that or I'm doing this. So they get to an age where you're like, oh, I actually want to spend time with them. Then they don't want to spend time with you. Mm-mm. So that's where that's
the most thankless job, especially like we have a house full of 13 and above, like teenagers that are all different aspects of their life. And we're morons as parents. We're complete idiots. Like
we don't know anything.
You say stuff and they act like you have 3 eyeballs and like you're just has said the most asinine thing. And what you asked was how their day was.
Yeah. And that's true. Like, I don't think that's,
whoa. Okay. So it's like you would give anything. You would give your life for them.
Yes.
And they just shit on you every day.
They do. And it's like, they don't even know. Or they do and they just don't care. I don't know.
One day. And it's just such a long game. I mean, that's what we've talked about that many times. Such a long game, parenting, because you do give it your all and you won't even know if you're messing them up or not until they're like later in life. You know, either you'll find out in like 15 years if you've done a good job or not.
I'm going to do a podcast in a couple of weeks with my friend David Hockman, and we're talking about parenting. And we talked about that this week. Because you don't want to mess your kids up. But at the end of the day, a lot of times with our sons, especially, we think I did this as a kid. I'm going to get my son so compliant that he doesn't do those things that I did. He's definitely going to do them then, and he's going to do them worse because he doesn't believe. So what we have to do is actually go after our children's hearts. And that's going to be the point of the Father's Day podcast. But I have one more question that I was going to ask you. Because I honestly don't know this because you're not a big TV movie person, but is there a movie that you've seen so many times that you love that you pretty much know all the words?
Okay. So if I think of the movie that I have laughed the hardest at, it's all the Naked Gun movies. When I was growing up, Lisa Lucas. Not Liam Neeson. Leslie. No, Leslie Nielsen.
Nielsen. There it is. Yeah.
Growing up, I mean, I don't know how many times we watched that movie, like hundreds of times, and just hysterical. Those movies are like just the classic all time.
I used to watch them too, and I forgot on a walk you told me that you loved those movies growing up, and I was shocked that was your pick.
Naked Gun all the way.
They were so
They're
funny,
so stupid,
and dumb, so
dumb, but hysterical. So. That would always be my all-time favorite.
Okay. Love it. I have 2, actually. Top Gun, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Love it. Know all the words. But one that was one of my dad's favorite, and even my best friend PJ and I talk about all the time now, top 5 favorite movie ever. And you pretty much know every word. was the 90s Western Tombstone with Kurt Russell and also, why can't I remember the guy from Top Gun as Doc Holliday. He died a couple years ago of cancer.
Oh, yeah.
Val Kilmer.
Ice.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer. So he was in both of those movies, and Sam Elliott was in Tombstone. I mean, just incredible cast, and love that. Used to watch with my dad, and now whenever it's on, I'll be texting PJ and we'll text back and forth about it and just know all the words. So, and there is a line in that I'm saving for in the next month because towards the end, you fucked with my family too long. And it's like, you tell them I'm coming and hell's coming with me. And every now and then as a man, that has to happen. So one of those great lines in that. I did look at the salsa hot ones. We're not going to cover those. You'll want to do that on your own time with your own partner. Okay. Because they get a little spicy right out of the gate. Just saying. Right out of the gate. Again, just being real, being honest, being vulnerable. And so appreciate Angie doing that and appreciate all of you for listening and being a part of it. Again, if you like something that you heard today, please share us on social media, share it via text with a friend, and don't forget to, rate the podcast when you can do that too, because those things do help us. But otherwise, Angie, I do love you and grateful.
Love you too. And I choose you.
Thank you.
Now I'm good for a couple weeks, right?
And grateful for this blended, blessed, always a mess family that we're in the community. And I'll be in the corner and I'll see you guys next week. Have a great week and God bless. Thank you for listening to Blended, Blessed, and Always a Mess. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and at blendedblessedalwaysamess.com.
Reach out to us on any of our social channels. We would love to hear from you. Have a great week.